Chosen one, what if I told you the reason you feel watched, even when the room is empty, is because you are? And it's not just by people. There is an eye on your life that has never once looked away. This isn't paranoia. This isn't your mind playing tricks on you. In the spirit, you cannot hide, not from what hunts you, but from what has chosen you. And today, heaven is allowing just enough of that mystery to be unveiled to shake you awake. If this message has found you, it is not by accident, algorithm, or curiosity. This is a divine interception. Many will click away. Only the ones who are truly chosen will feel their inner world go silent for a moment and say, "This is for me." You have carried a strange awareness for years that your steps are being measured, your words weighed, your choices watched. You've tried to push it aside, call it anxiety, overthinking, sensitivity. But your spirit knows better. Here is the half-revelation heaven is releasing in this opening. There is a watcher assigned to your life. More than one, in fact. One is holy the Lord, who sees not as man sees, who reads motives, not performances. Others are human, fragile, and conflicted. Some watch you to imitate, some to compete, some to quietly hope you fail so they feel safer in their own compromise. They study your pain to predict you. They monitor your progress to measure themselves. They have seen more of you than you realize. Screenshots, conversations, late-night replays of your name in their mind. But above them all, there is one watching for a different reason, not to trap you, but to trust you with more. You've walked through seasons where you felt invisible and exposed at the same time, misjudged when you did right, ignored when you needed help, punished in rooms you weren't even in. You fought private wars with no audience, carrying storms in your chest while presenting peace on your face. You thought, no one really knows what this is costing me. But the watcher did, heaven did. And heaven is now saying, the days of silent misreading are closing. A veil is about to lift, not just off them, but off you. This is not only about enemies or gossip. This is about discernment, protection, and promotion. You are stepping out of a chapter where you've only been reacting, defending, and recovering. A new chapter is opening where you move with clarity, strategy, and spiritual accuracy. In this message, I'm going to reveal 3 things. 1. Who has really been watching you? 2. What they saw that changed everything in the spirit. 3. And the one shift heaven is requiring from you now, so their watching no longer shapes your story, only God's gaze does. I can't unfold all of that in the opening, but if your spirit is already stirring, that's your confirmation. This isn't just content, it's confirmation. Right now, as an act of faith and alignment, I want you to comment 777 below, not as a trend, but as your declaration. Lord, I choose your eyes over theirs. I want to see and be seen in truth. Hit like, share this with another chosen one who has felt silently observed and misunderstood, and subscribe so you don't walk this journey alone. Stay with me until the very end, because there is a prophetic insight and a prayer I have been holding back, one that can only be released when your heart is fully postured to receive it. For some of you, that moment will mark the end of an old cycle and the beginning of a divinely protected, clearly guided new path. God's chosen ones, you cannot hide. The watcher sees what you never imagined. Chosen one, lean into this moment. Something ancient is shifting around you, something you can feel more than understand. As the unseen veil continues to lift, the atmosphere thickens, almost humming with a spiritual electricity that your mind can't quite articulate, but your soul instantly recognizes. It is not a pressure pressing upon you, it is a pressure being stirred because of you. Rooms feel different when you enter. Conversations shift when your name is mentioned. Spirits tremble, some in awe, some in envy, some in silent fear. This is not imagination, it is recognition. A truth has been rising in the shadows, moving closer to the surface with every step you take toward your destiny. Your spirit sensed it long before the evidence appeared. In moments of stillness, in breaths of solitude, in those sudden waves of intuition that sweep over you without warning, you have felt it. Something or someone is watching. Not with malice, but with understanding. Not with obsession, but with revelation. Psalm 139:12 says, "The darkness is not dark to you. The night shines like the day." Heaven has seen what others tried to hide, and heaven has allowed you to feel what your physical eyes could not yet see. There is a person, yes, that person who carries not just curiosity toward you, but knowledge. They know something about you that even you have only begun to discover about yourself. A secret they have guarded with trembling restraint, a strategy they wrapped in casual smiles, a confession sitting at the edge of their tongue like a truth too heavy for their pride to bear. But destiny has a way of unmasking what pretense protects. Chosen one, you felt it, didn't you? That weight in your chest whenever their name crosses your mind, as though your soul remembers what your body has not yet learned. That sudden silence in a room when your presence shifts the energy. That tension in the air between you and them, a tension neither of you can explain away. The signs have never lied to you. They were confirmations, breadcrumbs from heaven, pointing you toward a revelation aligned with Jeremiah 33:3. "Call to me, and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." Behind doors you have never walked through, your image has traveled farther than your feet. Not simply viewed, but studied. Not simply mentioned, but dissected. Your light has imprinted itself onto minds that did not even know how to describe the sensation you stirred within them. The watcher, this person who carries your name inside their private thoughts, has shown your photo, your words, your essence to others. And when those others saw you, silence fell like a velvet curtain. Not because they did not care, but because they could not ignore. 3 voices rose that day, each revealing a hidden layer of truth. The first marveled, "They are rare, almost unreachable." The second whispered, "They intimidate me. Their presence is too powerful." But the third spoke from revelation, "There is something divine in them. I can't explain it, but I feel it." Their words carried the weight of heavenly discernment. They were not opinions, they were prophetic responses. And the one who placed your image before them? Not a stranger, not a passerby, not someone disconnected from your path. It was a person you trusted, a person you once allowed close enough to hear your unfiltered voice, close enough to hold pieces of your soul. They carried your story into places your feet have not yet walked. And what they stirred behind those doors was not innocent. The intentions behind their actions are being uncovered layer by layer. Chosen one, when masks fall, truth rises, and truth has already begun to walk toward you. Why do you think some people around you have been acting strangely? Because the prophecy written over your life has begun to disturb everything built on pretense. Darkness fears exposure, insecurity fears brilliance. Envy fears chosen vessels. Your presence calls things out of hiding, forces truth to the surface, demands spiritual reactions even from those who prefer silence. And soon, very soon, one of them will break under the weight of what they know. Not because they want to confess, but because truth always finds its way through trembling lips. Ecclesiastes 12:14 declares, "For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing. Nothing done or spoken in secret can remain buried when heaven decides it is time for the unveiling." This is not a moment for fear, it is a moment for clarity. What rises now is meant to free you from shadows, not bind you to them. What surfaces now is liberation. The watcher, this person who has seen your light and could never unsee it, is being compelled by divine forces to reveal what they know. Your destiny requires truth. Your next chapter demands clarity. And your calling cannot unfold in environments clouded by secrecy. Chosen one, beneath the intensity of this moment lies a sacred reassurance. You have never walked unseen. You have never prayed unheard. You have never risen alone. There are movements in the spiritual realm aligning for your protection, your revelation, and your elevation. Isaiah 54:17 whispers over you, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Heaven has monitored every whisper spoken in darkness, every intention directed toward your path, every emotion stirred by your existence. And heaven is responding. You cannot hide because you were never meant to. Your light is too rare, your purpose too vast, your destiny too integral to the architecture of heaven's plan. And now what has been hidden is rising. And now, chosen one, the silence around you begins to shift in a way that can no longer be mistaken for stillness. What you thought was emptiness was not emptiness at all. It was a gathering storm, a divine pause before the unveiling. Even the air around you has started to feel different, charged, heavier, humming with a spiritual velocity that your intuition senses before your mind can translate it. The eyes that once watched from the periphery are no longer passive. They are calculating now, pacing the edges of your journey like shadows that pretend to be ordinary but cannot hide their intent. But you know this season is not ordinary, it is prophetic. It is the moment the unseen prepares to become known, the moment heaven pulls back the curtain on truths that have been simmering just beyond the reach of your awareness. The tension building inside you is not anxiety, it is revelation trying to find its doorway. You feel it pressing against the edges of your chest, truth awakening, timing aligning, destiny breathing. For the ones who carried your image both literally and metaphorically into hidden spaces never did so without spiritual consequence. They thought they were sharing a curiosity, a fascination, a passing interest. But it became more than that, because you are more than that. They were trying to express something they themselves did not understand, and your presence, your very essence, exposed contradictions they hoped would stay buried. You were never just looked at. You were analyzed. You were never just acknowledged. You were interpreted. Your existence raised questions they could not ignore and stirred emotions they could not articulate. One among them, yes, the one whose name your spirit had already whispered, carried your image like a key, unlocking responses wherever it was shown. And none of those responses were light. 3 voices rose that day, each revealing a different spiritual temperature. The first, eyes wide with recognition, breathed, "This one, there's something unforgettable about them." The second, sharp-edged with envy, tightened their jaw and confessed, "They intimidate me. I don't know why, but they do." But the third, quiet, solemn, trembling with discernment, said what the spirit realm had known all along, "There's something more here. I can't explain it, but I feel it in my soul." These were not opinions, they were spiritual markers. They were confirmations of what John 1-5 declares. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. What they still do not understand is that your light does not come from appearance, charisma, or charm. It comes from calling. And calling cannot be replicated, cannot be denied, cannot be dimmed. Calling reveals the cracks in others, confronts what is dormant, exposes what is insecure. It awakens both admiration and resistance, and it has no intention of allowing neutrality. You were sent as a disruption. Heaven ordained you as a catalyst. And those who encounter you feel the shift before they even comprehend it. The one who initiated all of this, the one who showed your picture, whispered your name, sought validation in places they never should have entered, never meant for it to go this far. But it did, because the spiritual weight you carry is far greater than they ever imagined. They thought they were simply sharing curiosity, but they were touching destiny. They were stirring waters that had been still for too long. They were aligning themselves with a prophecy that is bigger than their intentions, deeper than their understanding, and far more consequential than their ego-driven impulses. And perhaps you've wondered lately, why does my spirit sense movements around me long before anything becomes visible? That question rising inside you is not fear, it is discernment, sharpening. Chosen one, you have sensed this unraveling in ways you could not articulate. You felt it in the way conversations around you shifted suddenly, as though they carried information you had not yet been given. You felt it when certain people avoided eye contact, not because they disliked you, but because they feared what might surface if they looked too long. You felt it when silence grew heavier between you and the ones who once spoke freely. These moments were not emotional confusion, they were spiritual indicators. Proverbs 20:27 tells us, "The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts." Your spirit was reading the room long before your mind understood the message. And now, what was buried begins to rise. Not only secrets, but motives. Not only words, but intentions. Not only actions, but truths, long disguised by politeness. When the moment of confession arrives, and it will not come softly. Truth never tiptoes, it breaks through. Jesus himself declared in Luke 12:2, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." The revelation approaching you is not meant to frighten you, it is meant to free you. But the ground beneath your feet will shift, because revelation rearranges reality. Another question rises now, uninvited but necessary. Why does my presence stir such strong reactions in those who barely know me? The answer is simple. Your anointing speaks before you do. You were never meant to walk blind. You were never meant to move unaware. You were never meant to remain in the dark about what concerns your destiny. Psalm 121:8 reminds you, "The Lord will watch over your coming and your going, both now and forevermore." Heaven has already seen every hidden conversation. Heaven has already evaluated every heart involved. Heaven has already sifted truth from deception. And now heaven is placing revelation into your hands. And in the quiet of your heart, the third and deepest question forms: what version of me will emerge once this truth comes to light? Only heaven knows the fullness of that answer, but it will be a version forged in clarity and crowned in purpose. Chosen one, the unraveling is not your downfall, it is your deliverance. What rises now is not meant to overwhelm you, it is meant to position you. The confession that approaches will not weaken you, it will empower you. For God is not exposing to shame, He is exposing to align, He is revealing to redirect. He is bringing truth to the surface because your future cannot be built on unclear foundations. So let the unraveling come, let the truth emerge, let the silence break, for you will not be shaken, you will be clarified. And this revelation, this long-awaited unveiling, will not be the end of your story, it will be the beginning of your authority. Chosen one, as the veil thins and the atmosphere trembles with revelation, the illusion you once carried about who they were begins to crack like fragile glass under divine pressure. What breaks now will not shatter you, it will free you. For the bond you held, the connection you trusted, will dissolve not from bitterness but from clarity, the kind of clarity that only heaven can orchestrate. The one who watched you most closely was not your enemy, yet not your ally. They lived in the in-between, a place of conflicted reverence where admiration and fear met in secret. They felt drawn to you, yet terrified by what that pull awakened within themselves. They recognized your calling before you recognized it, and that recognition scared them more than anything else ever had. This has never been mere observation, it has always been spiritual recognition. Destiny sees destiny, light calls to light. Something in you confronted something dormant in them, exposing both their hunger and their hesitation. And now, as truth rises from the shadows, the question settles into your spirit like a quiet tremor. Why did they see me so clearly when I had barely begun to see myself? The answer is both simple and profound. You were never walking unnoticed, you were being weighed. For heaven had placed a mark upon you, one that only spiritually sensitive hearts could detect. Whether they honored it or feared it depended on their own condition. The pull they felt toward you was not attraction alone, it was acknowledgement, divine fingerprint, recognizing divine fingerprint. You are not merely being watched. You are being measured against the prophecy written over your life. And the revelation that is about to be spoken, the confession forming beneath their trembling silence, will alter the shape of your path. Because the one behind those eyes, the one whose face was familiar, whose voice felt safe, whose presence seemed steady, they were never quite who you thought they were. And yet their truth, raw and overdue, will become the thread that ties every strange moment, every unspoken tension, every unexplained shift in energy into a single, undeniable tapestry. This was never truly about them. It has always been about what God placed within you, a brilliance too bright to dim, a fire too ancient to ignore, a calling too powerful to fit inside the limited vision of those who only knew a fraction of your depth. You were carrying heaven, and they were trying to understand it through earthly eyes. And now, chosen one, the silence begins to fracture. Like dawn forcing its way through a stubborn horizon, the unseen is preparing to usher itself into the visible. What once moved in whispers is stepping boldly into the light. The glances, the half-finished sentences, the sudden shifts in rooms you entered, they were real. Every subtle tension was a spiritual vibration. Every quiet stare was a question they were too afraid to ask aloud. Every awkward pause was their humanity wrestling with the divinity resting upon you. And the name that is about to rise, the truth waiting to surface, will strike a chord deep within your spirit, a chord you have felt for months but could never articulate. It was never imagination that tightened your chest when you stepped into certain rooms. It was never coincidence that conversations shifted abruptly when you approached. It was never random that eyes lingered on you longer than they intended. Something in you forced truth to rise in others. Something in you awakened reactions even they didn't expect. Matthew 10:26 declares, "For there is nothing concealed that will not be revealed, and nothing hidden that will not be made known." And now, that word is unfolding around you. Among those watching, studying, measuring you, one stood closer than all the others. A presence you trusted, a voice you leaned into, a person whose nearness felt familiar. But behind the warmth, behind the comfort, behind the gestures that seemed harmless, they carried a truth they could no longer contain. They carried your image literally and inwardly into rooms where you were never meant to be discussed, not to harm you, not to mock you, but because something about you demanded interpretation. They wanted to know if others could see it too, the glow, the resilience, the quiet power, the undeniable magnetism of your assignment. When they spoke your name, the atmosphere shifted. When they laid your photo down, something ancient stirred. 3 voices rose, echoes of heaven dressed in human language. The first voice, drenched in awe, breathed, "They are unforgettable. There is something eternal about them." The second, sharpened by envy, whispered, "They shine too brightly. It's intimidating." And the third, quiet and reverent, spoke the truth. The spirit realm already knew. They're not like us. They are set apart. Let to. These were not opinions. They were confirmations. Jeremiah 1-5 resounds, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I set you apart." These were echoes of something God established long before time measured itself in days. But what shook the one who initiated it all was not the words spoken, it was the weight they felt as those words landed. Their silence afterward screamed louder than confession. In that moment, they realized they had crossed into sacred territory. You were no longer just someone they met. You were someone who challenged them, inspired them, unraveled them, exposed them, awakened them. They didn't carry hatred. What they carried was far more complicated admiration they couldn't justify, fear of what you awakened in them, longing they didn't know how to name. They watched because they were drawn to your light, drawn to your strength, drawn to the grace with which you moved through pain that would have broken others, drawn to the divine imprint that saturated your presence. And somewhere inside you, the question rises now like a soft ache. Why did God allow their eyes to see what so many others missed? Perhaps because every revelation requires a witness. Perhaps because destiny always chooses an unexpected herald. Perhaps because truth needed to surface through the least expected vessel. And now, the final veil falls. The one who watched the longest, who stood the closest, whose silence held meaning hidden beneath restraint, is about to speak. What comes forth will not be small. It will not be casual. It will not be a whisper. It will be revelation. It will be truth cracking open years of silence. It will be confession wrapped in trembling honesty. Isaiah 60:1 rises over you now. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Chosen one, prepare your spirit. What is coming will not break you, it will confirm you. What is being revealed will not wound you, it will awaken you. What is rising from hidden places will not derail your path, it will illuminate it. The watcher is about to speak. Heaven is pushing the truth to the surface, and your destiny is stepping forward with unstoppable force. Chosen one, the truth they've been hiding has reached its breaking point. It can no longer sit in the shadows, no longer remain tucked behind carefully measured glances and half-spoken words. What rises now is not a confession born from impulse, it is one born from spiritual pressure, the kind that shakes a soul from the inside until silence becomes unbearable. And when it spills out, it won't merely surprise you, it will reframe everything you thought you understood. Because what they buried was not irritation or indifference. It was affection that ran deeper than they ever intended to feel. It was awe wrapped in restraint. It was devotion hidden beneath steady breaths and casual tones. They masked it not to deceive you, but to protect themselves from the magnitude of what your spirit awakened within them. Hebrews 4:13 declares, "Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him to whom we must give account." And that is exactly what this moment is, an uncovering, not a betrayal, a revelation. A divine unveiling that was always destined to occur, not for your harm, but for your awakening. Their truth is part of your story, a necessary piece of the puzzle heaven designed to sharpen your discernment. For you were never watched out of weakness, you were studied because your presence carries something that stirs the soul, something that pulls truth out of hiding. Now the person you never suspected, the one who walked beside you without raising suspicion, the one whose presence felt familiar, whose energy lingered longer than reason would allow, will step forward. Their name will shake the room inside your heart. Their truth will echo across your spirit in ways you did not expect. And when the curtain falls completely, the landscape of your journey will no longer look the same. For this kind of revelation does not simply open your eyes. It rearranges the path beneath your feet. The hour has arrived. You can feel it in the atmosphere, thick with anticipation, trembling with something holy. Everything hidden is coming to the surface. What once whispered now speaks. What once stirred now rises. The silence you endured was not emptiness, it was spiritual build-up, a gathering of divine weight preparing to be released. This unveiling is not merely information, it is transformation. You have carried the heaviness of unseen eyes for much longer than you realized. That quiet pressure in your chest when a certain person entered the room. The shift in laughter that became strangely cautious the moment you appeared. The subtle hush that wrapped around your name like a veil after you walked away. These were not coincidences. These were signals, signs, spiritual tremors, revealing what the natural world tried to hide. Your image, your very essence, has traveled through conversations, circles, and spaces you never stepped into physically. It lingered like fragrance, like resonance, like an imprint on the soul. Your name, your presence, your energy, they left marks on hearts that never understood how to interpret them. And at the center of this hidden storm stands one soul whose connection to you runs deeper than time, deeper than logic, deeper than surface explanation. They held your picture more than once, not out of malice, not out of obsession, but out of a desire to understand why your presence stirred something inside them that words could not name. They sought clarity. They sought reflection. They wanted to know if others saw what they saw, your radiance, your strength, your unexplainable gravity. When they presented your image, when your face entered the room through their trembling hands, 3 voices responded, each one revealing a layer of spiritual truth. The first voice called you unforgettable, a soul whose presence cannot be erased. The second voice, soaked in envy, admitted fear, they're a force I cannot match. And the third voice, the most spiritual of all, spoke with reverence. They are set apart, they're chosen. These weren't compliments, they were confirmations, prophetic reflections disguised as casual remarks. Deuteronomy 14:2 proclaims, "You are a people holy to the Lord your God. He has chosen you to be his treasured possession." And without realizing it, those 3 voices echoed heaven's decree. But the one who carried your picture, the one who started the conversation, did not do it to harm you. They did it because they were fighting a war within themselves, admiration on one side, fear on the other. They were drawn to you, irresistibly, undeniably, and yet terrified of what that pull meant. They couldn't look away, and they couldn't handle what they saw. Your light unsettled something in them. It exposed their shadows. It awakened dormant longing. It broke open emotions they had kept under lock and key. And now you find yourself wondering, why does my presence reveal so much in others, things they didn't even know were alive inside them? Because you, chosen one, carry divine resonance. You carry the mark of someone heaven has touched. Your existence is a mirror that forces others to confront their truth. Like Psalm 36:9 declares, "In your light we see light." When people encounter the light within you, they see themselves clearly, painfully, honestly. And for some, that truth is a gift. For others, a threat. And for this person, the one who watched with trembling reverence, it became both. They admired your spirit, but feared what it awakened. They desired connection, yet feared the exposure it would demand. Your presence became a spiritual catalyst, a holy disruption, a mirror they could not escape. Now the moment of confession approaches like a gathering tide, inevitable, undeniable. And deep within your soul, another question rises, soft and trembling. What will their truth change within me when it finally reaches my ears? The answer will not destroy you, it will define you. For God is not revealing this to wound your heart, but to widen your discernment, to free you from illusions, to prepare you for what comes next. Proverbs 12:19 reminds us, "Truthful lips endure forever." And this truth, raw and unfiltered, is about to shift your understanding of connection forever. It will complete the puzzle of every strange tension, every instinctive knowing, every unexplainable moment. What they carried was not hatred, it was complexity, affection too fragile to voice, fear too loud to silence, honor too heavy to dismiss. And now, the final veil falls. The truth they hid buried beneath restraint, locked behind ribs, tucked beneath practiced composure, is rising. It will reach you soon. And when it does, the path before you will unfold with new clarity, new discernment, new authority. Chosen one, prepare your spirit. The watcher is stepping into the light. Their confession is coming, and heaven is aligning every word. Chosen one, what their silence concealed has now risen like a tide breaking against the boundaries of their own restraint. It exposed their longing, their shadow, their hunger for clarity, and their inability to escape the gravity of your presence. They were not merely observing you, they were searching for themselves through you. They wanted to understand why your spirit disrupted theirs, why your presence stirred something that did not belong to logic, why your existence lingered in their mind long after you walked away. There was a night, one they have not spoken of, when they asked themselves whether this pull toward you was insanity or revelation. And in the stillness of that night, when the world had quieted and masks had fallen, Their heart whispered a truth they were too afraid to admit. Something about this one is divine. That whisper became a haunting, that haunting became a hunger, and that hunger became the reason they began seeking confirmation from others, praying that someone would say something that would help them understand the unexplainable weight they felt. But heaven intervened. Every voice that encountered your image spoke with a resonance far deeper than human opinion. Every reaction mirrored the truth written in Psalm 139:14, "I am fearfully and wonderfully made." For that is how you appeared to them, wondrous, radiant, unsettling in the way only destiny can be. And when they heard others speak of you as unforgettable, intimidating, set apart, they didn't feel relief. They felt exposure. Everything they had tried to suppress rose to the surface. Their heart would not let them rest. They replay the moment your image appeared before them, the way the atmosphere changed, the way silence swallowed the room, the way something sacred tightened in their chest. They have not slept with peace since then. Their dreams echo with your face. Their spirit wakes at night with your name hovering between their ribs. Every time they try to bury it, heaven unearths it again. For what they carry is not obsession, it is recognition. Chosen one, have you ever wondered why certain souls trembled around you without provocation? Why familiar faces felt both close and impossibly distant at the same time? Why the air around certain people shifted when you stepped near? These moments were not emotional illusions, they were spiritual diagnostics, revealing who your presence awakened and who your presence exposed. Isaiah 60:1 speaks it clearly. "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Your light does not simply illuminate rooms, it confronts them. It stirs truth to the surface. It pulls out dormant desires and buried wounds. It awakens longing in those who forgot they were capable of feeling anything sacred at all. And this person, the one who watched you from the shadows of familiarity, was undone by the light you carried. They tried to dismiss it. They tried to distance themselves. They tried to convince their mind that what they felt was imagined, exaggerated, misplaced. But the truth only grew louder. What they buried is now rising like a tide they can no longer suppress. Your presence is wrapped around their thoughts, not in bitterness or malice, but in awe, in longing, in reverence. They no longer see you as someone they know, they see you as someone heaven-marked. And this terrifies them. For how does one stand before someone who unknowingly exposes their deepest truths? How does one speak to a soul that awakens their dormant faith? How does one hide from a destiny-aligned connection when the spiritual realm refuses to let it rest? Chosen one, have you noticed how certain people looked at you like they were trying to solve a mystery written in your eyes? Your calling burns too brightly to go unnoticed. You are not merely seen, you are felt. Your presence carries the weight of divine assignment, the residue of prophetic identity, the echo of spiritual authority. This is why their silence is cracking, why their composure is unraveling, why their confession trembles at the edge of their lips. What they carry can no longer stay buried beneath polite conversation and practiced distance. It must rise. Destiny demands it. Their truth will not wound you, it will awaken you. And now the moment draws near, the moment when the one who hid the most will step into the open. The mask they wore so convincingly is losing its grip. The persona they crafted is dissolving. The truth they swore they'd take to their grave is pressing against their chest with unbearable insistence. They must speak, they must reveal, they must release what heaven has been stirring. Ecclesiastes 3:7 reminds us that there is a time to be silent and a time to speak, and the time for silence has ended. What comes next is a release of truth that will realign paths, expose motives, and open spiritual corridors you did not know were locked. It will not come with theatrics, but with trembling honesty. And when it comes, it will shake the ground beneath both of you. Because this confession is not just emotional, it is spiritual, it is ancestral, it is prophetic. It carries consequences. It carries weight. It carries liberation. The one who watched you, who carried your image, who whispered your name into rooms you never entered, they were not driven by pettiness, but by spiritual hunger. They wanted to understand why your presence made them feel alive and exposed all at once, why they could not dismiss your voice, why their soul leaned toward you with a pull too ancient to be accidental. And now they stand at the edge of confession, knowing that once they speak it, nothing can return to what it was. Luke 12:2 declares, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." This moment is the fulfillment of that truth. Heaven is pulling back the veil. Destiny is demanding illumination. And the truth will rise not to break your heart, but to align it. Chosen one, before this confession reaches you, pause and breathe into your spirit this question: what if the one who watched you was never meant to stay hidden, but meant to reveal the next divine turn in your journey? Everything is aligning now. Every whisper, every stare, every unanswered question, every strange tension in the room. The truth has begun to unfold, and you must not only hear it, you must respond with the wisdom heaven is placing upon your shoulders. Are you ready for what comes next? What has now been revealed to you, chosen one, is far more than information to file away in the corners of your memory. It is not gossip dressed as insight, nor is it a spiritual curiosity meant to entertain the mind. It is a call to alignment, the kind that stirs the bones and summons the spirit into deeper awareness. Heaven does not reveal what is hidden merely to satisfy human questions. Heaven reveals to prepare, to equip, and to reposition. And what has been unveiled before you came with purpose sewn into every thread. You were not shown these truths so you could recoil in shock. You were shown them so you could rise in clarity. Because now you see, you were not simply watched, you were weighed, and the weight heaven placed on your life is what caused others to turn their eyes toward you in the first place. They were responding to a mantle they did not have language for, but heaven did. Heaven marked you long before any human eye came to rest upon your presence. Psalm 33:13 reminds us, "From heaven the Lord looks down and sees all mankind, and his gaze has never once left you." Others saw fragments. God saw the full arc of your becoming. Now you must walk in the knowing that you carry a light that cannot be hidden, a spiritual frequency that shifts environments without effort. So begin to pay attention, not with paranoia, but with prophetic sensitivity. When you walk into a room and the air feels charged as though something eternal has entered behind you, do not shrink to make others comfortable. Stand taller. You are not here to take up less space. You are here to take up the space God carved for you before the foundation of the world. When your voice brings silence, do not apologize. Some silences are reverence. Some silences are awakening. And some silences are heaven making room for your authority to speak. Chosen one, have you noticed how your presence reveals more than your words ever could? There is a reason for that. God crafted you as a vessel that carries truth without needing to announce it. The atmosphere responds because heaven recognizes its own imprint inside of you. But in this season, you must cultivate daily spaces where you sit with God, not for answers alone, but for alignment. Ask Him to refine your vision so you don't mistake opposition for danger or admiration for permission. Ask Him to show you not only who has been watching you, but who you are becoming under His gaze. David prayed in Psalm 139:23, "Search me, O God, and know my heart." And this is the prayer that keeps the chosen grounded when elevation accelerates. Let Him remove the craving to be understood by those who have not yet understood themselves. Let Him break the need for validation from those He never assigned to affirm you. Begin to track your inner shifts. Pay attention to your energy, what drains it, what feeds it, what awakens your spirit, and what dims your discernment. You are not simply managing emotions, you are stewarding anointing. Some of what you feel in your chest, the sudden pressure, the heaviness, the pull toward quiet, It may not be anxiety at all. It may be revelation rising, trying to break through the surface of your awareness. Your spirit is a prophetic instrument, tuned to frequencies the natural world cannot perceive. What if those sensations you dismissed were actually warnings from God, or confirmations? Chosen one, what if what you've been calling confusion was actually spiritual sensitivity awakening inside you? You must begin to treat your inner world not as a battlefield, but as a sanctuary where God whispers his secrets. Journal what you sense. Reflect on the moments that felt strange but meaningful. Write down the dreams that linger long after you wake. Some revelations are seeds, and seeds cannot grow if they are ignored. And bless even those whose eyes found you through envy. Their reaction is not an indictment of your character, it is a sign of their hunger. They saw in you what they could not yet recognize in themselves. It is written in Proverbs 27:19, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." Your life became a mirror, revealing the unspoken longing inside them, a longing for purpose, identity, and holiness. You are not responsible for their response. You are responsible only for your obedience. Do not allow the weight of being seen to push you into hiding. The watcher sees you, yes, but he is not watching to judge you. He is watching to guide you, to guard you, to elevate you. Some eyes are on you because heaven placed them there. Some watchers are witnesses heaven has assigned to your journey. And some watchers, as unsettling as it may feel, are students God has allowed to observe your light so they may one day find their own. But not all eyes are equal, and this is the season where you must discern which gaze is meant to guide you, which one is meant to sharpen you, and which one is meant to quietly release you. Some people observed you because your presence healed something in them, others because your calling awakened what they had buried, and a few because your anointing confronted the shadows they hoped to hide. Chosen one, have you ever felt that your life was being watched with a level of intensity that didn't match the relationship? That is because your spirit activates others in ways they do not understand. You carry what Ezekiel 36:26 describes, a new heart and a new spirit, a spirit that brings both comfort and conviction. Now here is the truth you must carry into the next chapter. You are not responsible for managing how others feel about your light, but you are responsible for protecting the flame God placed inside you. Guard your peace without guilt. Guard your purpose without apology. Guard your identity without compromise. You were chosen for clarity, not confusion, for impact, not invisibility, for divine purpose, not human approval. And now that the truth has surfaced, now that confessions tremble at the edge, now that motives are being separated from intentions, you must rise into the fullness of who you are, not timidly, not cautiously, but with the boldness described in 2 Timothy 1-7, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." Chosen one, this is your moment to walk like, you know, heaven watches you, covers you, directs you, and reveals what needs to be revealed. The unveiling around you is not a threat. It is a divine invitation to step into the next dimension of your assignment. What will you do with this clarity? Where will you carry this new awareness? And how will you walk now that you know heaven has exposed the truth to elevate, not to intimidate you? Your next steps will shape everything that comes after. And if God permits their confession to reach your ears, receive it without pride. Humility is not weakness, it is spiritual dominion. Respond with clarity, not performance. You do not need to justify why your presence stirred them, nor do you need to soften the truth to protect their comfort. Closure is not yours to chase, it is God's to grant. What is meant to end will end without you forcing it, and what is meant to continue will survive revelation. Allow truth to finish its work. Allow the unveiling to rearrange your understanding. Allow your spirit to breathe. You are not called to prove your purity, you are called to walk in it. This is why Psalm 26:2 says, "Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins, and my heart. It is God who validates the purity of your intentions, not those who struggled to discern their own hearts when confronted by your light. Heaven has already sifted you, refined you, and separated you from false accusations long before any confession reaches your ears. So, set boundaries with kindness, not fear. Speak truth with gentleness, not revenge. Move forward without bitterness, for bitterness is the enemy's attempt to stain what God has already cleansed. Love, yes, but love with eyes open. Walk with compassion, but walk with discernment sharpened. Your calling requires both tenderness and authority, mercy and wisdom. This is why Proverbs 4:23 declares, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And finally, walk into every space physically, emotionally, spiritually, as someone who knows they are already covered, because you are. Heaven has not merely observed the watchers. Heaven has watched over you. Heaven has stood between you and the intentions of others. Heaven has shielded you from what your discernment had not yet unveiled. Heaven has redirected conversations, softened judgments, and blocked weapons you never even knew were formed. So, rise now with intention. Move with purpose, humming beneath your steps. Live as though your name is already being spoken in rooms that matter, rooms where decisions are made, rooms where destinies are shaped, rooms where your purpose is being prepared like a mantle waiting to rest upon your shoulders, because it is. Build what you've been called to build, even if no one applauds yet. Love like your heart has already been healed, even if some wounds still ache quietly. Pray like answers are already on their way, because in truth they are sent, sealed, and speeding toward you at the pace of divine orchestration. Shine not for their attention, not for validation, not for applause, but for His glory. Your radiance is not performance, it is assignment. And now that the truth has surfaced, you no longer need to wonder why you were being watched. You no longer need to replay moments, searching for clues. You no longer need to doubt your intuition. The only question that remains is this: what will you do with the light they could never look away from? For the watching was never the threat, it was the confirmation. The gaze of others was not a judgment, it was a prophecy pointing toward the magnitude of who you are becoming. So now, chosen one, as the full weight of this revelation settles upon your spirit, understand this: what has been brought into the light is not just about them, it is about you, about who you are stepping into, about the level of visibility your calling demands, about the kind of influence heaven is entrusting to you, and influence always draws eyes long before it draws platforms. The watchers from your past were only shadows of the audience your future will carry. There is a shift happening inside you even now, a soft yet certain awakening. You can feel it, can't you? That whisper rising from a place deeper than thought. That stirring in your chest that feels like memory and prophecy woven together. That quiet voice asking, what would happen if I stepped fully into who God created me to be? And then another voice, softer still, wondering, why have I feared my own magnitude more than the world ever feared it? Because, chosen one, your life was never meant to remain small. Your presence was never meant to blend into the noise. Your spiritual frequency was always meant to rise above the static of ordinary existence. You are not called to dim your light, to soothe the insecurities of those who once watched you from the shadows. What you must do now is this: rise into alignment. Walk with a renewed spine. Stand with a sanctified confidence. Embrace the identity heaven has carved into your being. And as you rise, expect new watchers, not from curiosity, but from calling. People whose spirits will be drawn to yours, not because of confusion, but because of clarity. People who will recognize your anointing without fear, your mission without envy, your purpose without resistance. This is the moment where you begin to choose your environments with intention, where you discern who is called to walk beside you and who can only observe from a distance, where you step into spiritual maturity and ask yourself, What kind of vessel am I becoming for the work God has entrusted to me? The watchers from the past reveal only this: you were never invisible. You were hidden for protection, not rejection. But the season of hiding is ending, and with its ending comes a new requirement: responsibility. You must learn to walk among the eyes with grace, authority, and divine wisdom, not shrinking, not performing, simply being who God always knew you were. For it is written in Matthew 5:14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. The hill is rising beneath your feet. The city is being built around your influence. And the light, the one that could not be ignored, is ready to shine without apology." So move now, chosen one. Walk into the next chapter with courage knitted into your spirit and clarity folded around your mind. What has been revealed has set you free. And what you do with that freedom will determine the next revelation heaven places in your path. The watchers saw something in you. Now it is time for you to see it too. It's about you. It has always been about you, about who you are becoming under the gaze of heaven and what rises within you now that truth has stepped out of hiding. This awakening is not meant to inflate your pride or reopen old wounds. It is meant to restore your vision. It is heaven's way of reminding you that you were set apart long before any eyes ever turned toward you, long before any whispers formed in the dark. Even in the seasons when you doubted your worth, questioned your path, or wondered whether you had misheard the call on your life, the mark of distinction remained upon you like a seal pressed by the hand of God Himself. The eyes, the whispers, the quiet conversations behind your back, they were never designed to break you. They were confirmations, indicators that your presence stirs what is dormant, reveals what is hidden, and disrupts what pretends to be stable. Your very existence is catalytic. Your energy rearranges atmospheres. This is why Job 12:22 says, "He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings utter darkness into the light." Your presence forces revelation, even when you say nothing at all. And now, chosen one, this is your moment to rise, not with noise, not with arrogance, not with the frantic energy of someone trying to prove themselves, but with the quiet certainty of one who finally knows they are being backed by divine purpose. There is a confidence that comes from applause, and then there is a confidence that comes from calling. The first is fragile, the second is unshakable. You are being invited into the latter. Walk through your days from this moment forward with a steadiness anchored in heaven. Move as one who understands that doors are not simply opening, they are recognizing you. Opportunities are not just appearing, they are aligning themselves to your blueprint. The attention you've received lately was never meant to confuse you. It was meant to remind you that your light cannot be hidden. Luke 8:17 affirms this. "For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light." You were not made for concealment. You were made for revelation. This is not the time to retreat into old habits of self-doubt. This is the time to refine your spirit. Oh, chosen one, you are entering a season that requires sharper discernment than ever before. Strengthen your boundaries not as a barricade to shut others out, but as a sacred filter to protect what heaven has placed within you. You are carrying something holy, something rare, something not everyone is meant to touch. Your boundaries are not rejection, they are reverence. Choose your conversations wisely. Not every room deserves your voice. Not every person deserves access to your inner world. Not every story is meant to be shared. You must learn to distinguish between those who seek you because of curiosity, those who seek you because of need, and those who seek you because they recognize the hand of God upon your life. Ask yourself quietly, why do certain people draw closer when my spirit expands? And equally, why do others retreat when my truth sharpens? These questions are not accusations, they are invitations into deeper awareness. Pay attention to the ones who speak life into your path without being asked. Notice those whose spirits rise when you rise, who celebrate your evolution without fear of being left behind. True alignment never competes with destiny. The right people do not shrink in your light, they grow in it, but the wrong ones are exposed under it. This is why Amos 3:3 asks, "Can two walk together unless they are agreed?" Agreement is not similarity. Agreement is alignment of purpose. This season will require you to listen more deeply to the inner whisper, the voice that spoke long before others recognized your calling. That whisper is your compass. It will tell you where to step, when to pause, who to trust, and what to release. You've learned enough from the voices of others. Now it's time to learn from the God who wrote your destiny. You may begin to notice certain friendships feel heavier, certain conversations feel shallow, certain environments feel too small. This is because you are growing, not because you are ungrateful. Expansion always makes confinement uncomfortable. Pay attention to how your spirit reacts. Your body is often the first to know what your mind has not yet admitted. Sometimes the tightening of your chest is not anxiety at all, but revelation pressing through the cracks of your old self. Sometimes the heaviness you feel in a person's presence is not mood, but discernment. And sometimes the quiet joy you feel around someone is not coincidence, but divine confirmation. So ask yourself gently, what parts of me are trying to rise that I have been afraid to acknowledge? Chosen one, God is repositioning you. He is guiding you toward people who recognize your spirit before they recognize your name. People who see your calling without needing explanations. People who do not fear your growth because they were sent to walk beside it. People who speak truth, sharpen your vision, and ignite your purpose. You will feel the difference. You will know when you've entered holy territory because your spirit will settle into peace instead of tension. Walk into this next chapter with an awareness that heaven is mapping your steps. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good person are ordered by the Lord, and He delights in their way." That means your path is not random, your encounters are not accidental, and your timing is not off. You are aligning with a destiny that has been written in the architecture of heaven since before your birth. Every moment you rise in clarity, heaven responds with movement. Let your refinement be intentional. Be selective without becoming cynical. Be open without becoming vulnerable to those who have not earned your trust. Honor your emotions, but do not be ruled by them. Feel deeply, but move wisely. Love boldly, but protect the sacred spaces of your soul. And most of all, remember this truth: the attention you receive is not the assignment. The transformation it triggers is. People watched you because heaven watched you first. People studied you because destiny marked you first. People felt drawn to you because God filled you first. You are becoming something extraordinary under the eyes of heaven, and the world is about to see it too. Choose your company even more carefully. Move differently now, not as someone who is frightened, but as one who finally understands the gravity of their own presence. You are carrying a weight that is not visible to the casual observer, but unmistakable to the spiritually attuned. There is a dignity forming in you, a holy seriousness rising from deep within, the kind that cannot be faked and cannot be ignored. Your steps now carry assignment, not impulse. Your decisions carry trajectory, not convenience. Your voice carries direction, not noise. Be intentional with every word that leaves your mouth, for heaven counts them and the earth echoes them. Proverbs 18:21 reminds us, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and chosen one, your words carry far more spiritual voltage than you once realized." There is precision required of you, precision in your energy, in your boundaries, in the spaces you allow yourself to enter. You are no longer permitted to move carelessly, because carelessness becomes costly when purpose becomes high. Let your actions reflect the growing awareness that you are watched not only by human eyes, but by the orchestration of heaven itself. When you walk into a room, angels take their positions. When you speak, the spiritual realm adjusts. When you pray, the atmosphere bends. When you rise, strongholds tremble. So ask softly within yourself, What would shift if I carried myself each day as one fully conscious of heaven's gaze? Remember this truth: the ones who tried to study your light never had the authority to define it. They saw only reflections, never the source. They felt only the warmth, never the fire. They reacted to the surface glow, but had no comprehension of the ancient oil that fuels you. Their opinions, whether soaked in admiration or dripping in envy, were never the origin of your worth. They were merely indicators, symptoms of the divine imprint you carry. You are not influenced by their commentary, they are influenced by your calling. Whether they whispered your name in awe or muttered it in fear, all they did was confirm that the anointing upon your life is undeniable. You are here for reasons far deeper than coincidence. Nothing about your timing is accidental. Nothing about your path is random. Isaiah 46:10 declares, "My purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please." You are walking within that divine declaration, even on days when you feel uncertain. And the fact that you are receiving these words in this exact season is not happenstance. It is alignment, orchestration, coordination from realms beyond sight. Heaven is not improvising. Heaven is revealing. The same God who saw you in the shadows, who held you in the wilderness seasons, who whispered to you when your heart was breaking, and no one else noticed, that same God is now uncovering who watched you all along. Not to expose their motives, but to establish your footing. Not to stir suspicion, but to sharpen discernment. Not to shake your faith, but to strengthen it. The revelation about them is actually a revelation about you. It is God's way of saying, "See, even when you felt invisible, you were never unseen." Let that truth settle deep into the marrow of your bones. Let it sharpen your perception, recalibrate your relationships, and cleanse the lens through which you interpret the world. Because now you are no longer walking unaware. You are stepping into a higher clarity, one that carries responsibility. And with that clarity will come moments of stillness when your spirit asks, "Why does the world feel different now that I finally recognize the depth of my own identity?" Those moments are not questions of fear, but questions of readiness. Chosen one, this next chapter requires you to walk with a learning heart and an unwavering spine. You must carry peace like armor and discernment like a lantern. You will be approached by those who once doubted you, drawn to the confidence rising in your spirit. You will also be avoided by those who fear what your presence reveals about their own stagnation. Do not internalize either response. Both are reflections of what God is shaping in you, not reflections of your worth. Let the revelation of being watched refine you, not harden you. You don't need to prove your innocence or defend your brilliance. Your life speaks louder than explanations ever could. Your integrity outlasts rumor. Your elevation outruns envy. Your calling outshines confusion. Matthew 5:16 speaks directly into this moment. Let your light so shine before others that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. You will find yourself becoming quieter, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You will speak more selectively, not because you doubt your voice, but because you understand the cost of misplacing it. You will love with caution and compassion at once, for you now understand that love is not blindness, love is discerned vision. As you rise, you will notice God shifting the circle around you. Some will drift, some will tighten, some will fall away suddenly, some will step closer with reverence. And in these shifting tides, your heart may ask, who is truly meant to walk with me into the next dimension of my destiny? That question is not weakness, it is spiritual maturity unfolding. It is evidence that you are learning to trust the architect of your path more than the company along the way. Stand firm in this awakening. You are being prepared, positioned, and purified for assignments that require clarity and courage. When the watchers are revealed, do not let fear cloud your vision. Let truth stabilize your steps. Let discernment become your compass. Let humility become your shield. Let wisdom become your signature. Your life is not expanding randomly, it is expanding prophetically. And now, walk forward, not as one who is being observed, but as one who is being ordained. Heaven is not studying you to decide your worth. Heaven is unveiling you because your worth has already been proven. You are watched because you are chosen. You are chosen because you are called. And you are called because heaven has work to do through you. Move with that knowing, walk with that strength, live with that purpose. And from this place, no gaze, no whisper, no opinion can shake what God has secured. Chosen one, now that the truth has risen from silence and your spirit has awakened to the depth of what heaven has been orchestrating all along, let us step into a sacred stillness together. This is the space where titles fall away, where fear loosens its grip, and where the soul finally breathes without trembling. This is where we lay everything, our knowing, our unknowing, our bruised places, our hopes before the one who has held us since the beginning. Take a slow breath, let the noise fall away. Feel your spirit settle into the presence that has been waiting for you. And now, step with me into prayer. Heavenly Father, eternal and all-seeing God, the one who perceives every shadow and interprets every sigh, we come before you with reverence, vulnerability, and unshielded hearts. Thank you for being the God who notices us even when the world turns away, who defends us even when we do not hear the accusations, who strengthens us even when we are unaware of the battles waged on our behalf. We honor you for the way you guard our steps, for the protection you weave into every path, every delay, every closed door. Thank you for calling us into a purpose so intricate and divine that even those who watched us from the sidelines could not grasp it. You are the God who reveals, the God who redeems, the God who exposes only to elevate, discloses only to deliver, and uncovers only to heal. Today, Lord, you have pulled back a curtain not to wound us but to awaken us. You have shown us the glances, the whispers, the silent observations, not to frighten us, but to anchor us deeper into your truth. You have shown us the watchers not as enemies, but as mirrors reflecting the weight of the calling you placed upon us. We lift before you every moment we have been misunderstood, every season we were misread, every time our presence stirred reactions we did not know how to interpret. We place into your hands every conversation spoken about us in rooms we never entered, every image shared without our knowledge, every opinion formed in shadows. We refuse to carry bitterness into the future you are crafting. We release it now, here, in the holiness of your presence. Father, we forgive the ones who watched from afar, watched too closely, watched without understanding. We forgive those who approached with curiosity instead of clarity, envy instead of celebration, silence instead of honesty. And we ask that you move in their hearts with gentleness, turn curiosity into compassion, transform envy into humility, and convert fear into reverence for your handiwork. We declare with boldness that our identity is not shaped by their perception, but by your proclamation. Before we were formed in the womb, you knew us. Before our feet touched the earth, you appointed us. Before anyone studied us, you sanctified us. You have anointed us, not for popularity, not for performance, but for purpose. Help us remember that we were never designed to blend into the background, but to walk as those set apart, refined by your fire, and illuminated by your presence. Grant us strength now, Father, strength to walk in our calling without shrinking, to speak truth with clarity and compassion, to shine without apology, to love without naivete, and to uphold boundaries without bitterness. Let your wisdom be our constant companion and your discernment our unfailing guide. Shield us from false alliances and deceptive sweetness. Surround us with those who hear your voice and align with your spirit. And Lord, for the one who watched us in silence, the one whose confession trembles on the horizon, we ask for mercy. Let their truth bring healing rather than harm, peace rather than turmoil, clarity rather than confusion. Let this revelation be a doorway to deliverance for them as much as for us. We thank you, Father, for being our refuge, our revealer, our righteous defender, for seeing our tears, cataloguing our prayers, and never losing sight of us, not for a moment. Thank you for calling us chosen, beloved, set apart. Thank you for preparing us long before the watchers took notice. We walk forward now, carrying the truth that we are not alone, not unprotected, not unseen. Heaven watches over us more fiercely than earth ever watched us. We step into purpose with confidence. We step into destiny with courage. And we step into the future with your hand over our lives. In the mighty, merciful, matchless name of Jesus, the name above every secret, every fear, and every shadow, we seal this prayer. Amen. Chosen one, as we come to the end of this message, sit with the weight of what has unfolded within you. Something has shifted tonight, not outside of you, but within the deepest chambers of your spirit. You are no longer listening as a stranger to your own destiny. You are hearing as one who has been awakened, as one who finally sees the invisible architecture God has been building around your life for years. This whole journey, the watching eyes, the whispered conversations, the unseen currents moving around you, was never meant to frighten you. It was meant to reveal you, to show you that what heaven placed inside you has always carried more gravity than you realized. Now you stand at a threshold, one season closing, another opening. The old version of you, the one who questioned their worth, who doubted their intuition, who wondered why the atmosphere shifted when they walked into rooms, that version is dissolving. In its place rises someone steadier, clearer, more anchored. You now understand that you were never navigating this world unnoticed. Heaven watched you. Angels guarded you. And yes, people observed you, too, some with confusion, some with hunger, some with admiration they couldn't voice. But through it all, God covered you. This revelation is not the climax of your story. It is the doorway into the next chapter. A chapter where you no longer move timidly. A chapter where you honor your own presence, your own calling, your own light. A chapter where you understand that being seen is not a threat. It is evidence that your purpose is active, alive, and unstoppable. And now, chosen one, you carry a responsibility, not to prove anything, not to perform for eyes that never understood you, but to live with intention, to speak with wisdom, to protect your anointing with discernment, to surround yourself with those who can hold the weight of who you are becoming. The watchers may have revealed themselves, but their role was never to define you. Their reactions simply highlighted that heaven's mark on your life is undeniable. As you go forward from this message, walk differently, pray with deeper expectation, move with clarity. Trust the inner voice that has been whispering to you long before anyone ever spoke your name aloud. And above all, remember this: you are not watched because you are weak. You are watched because you are chosen. You are not observed because you are ordinary. You are observed because your presence carries revelation. And now, before we close, I want to speak directly to you, the soul on the other side of this screen, listening with open heart and trembling spirit. If this message spoke to you, if it resonated somewhere deep beneath the surface, I invite you to stay connected. Your journey matters, and your voice deserves to be part of this community of awakening. So, if you haven't already, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next message heaven aligns for you. Share this video with someone who needs clarity, who needs courage, or who needs to remember that their life is not random. Your share may become their breakthrough, and I would love for you to comment below. Tell me what part of this message touched you, confirmed something for you, or opened your spirit in a new way. Your words don't just add to the conversation, they strengthen the entire community of chosen ones walking this path with you. And to every single one of you who supports this channel, whether through your presence, your engagement, or through super thanks, hear me when I say this: I am grateful for you, deeply. Whether you give or not, whether you comment or simply listen in silence, your spirit is welcome here. Your journey matters, Your presence is honored. As we close, let me speak a blessing over you. May the God who sees in secret reveal to you what has been hidden for your protection. May He strengthen your discernment, sharpen your intuition, and steady your heart. May every watcher driven by envy lose their power, and every watcher driven by admiration find healing. May your steps be guarded, your name be covered, and your purpose be illuminated. May peace settle over you like a mantle. May courage rise in you like fire, and may you walk into your next season with the quiet confidence of one who is divinely backed, divinely guided, and divinely chosen. Go in clarity, go in protection, go in purpose, and above all, go in peace. You are seen, you are guided, you are chosen. Until the next message, stay blessed, stay grounded, and stay radiant.